Welcome to Season 3 of Kenny's Kantina, Eating in Style on the Road. Wow, I can't believe that we're in Season 3. The last 2 seasons have been a great ride, and this season's going to be even better. I have a great season planned out, and I'm going to be preparing a lot of different dishes that taste great and are easy to make. Dishes that are perfect to share with friends. There'll be a little bit for everyone. Main dishes, side dishes, salads, cocktails, and even a dessert that kids, young and old, will enjoy. Your taste buds will be tantalizing, and your guests will leave with a smile on their faces. I'll also be updating the look of Kenny's Kantina to ring in the new season. I want to thank you for your comments, questions, and the feedback over the last 2 seasons. Let's hook up our belts and let's get into Season 3. Enjoy the ride. Now, what better way to kick off a new season than having a party? To be more specific, a birthday party for an 8-year-old. Caleb is my biggest little fan at the RV park, and after trying my Fideo for the first time several months ago, he made a very specific request. 2 bites into his dinner, he looked at me and said, "I want this for my birthday dinner." Since I always want to make my fans happy, I immediately told him that I would love to make him Fideo for his birthday dinner. Now, Caleb's not the first person to enjoy this great dish. My colleagues down at the university request it whenever we have a potluck lunch, and the workers at the RV Center in Tishmingo, Mississippi, look forward to my visits and the Fideo that I prepare as a thank you for their expert work. I know you and your guests will enjoy it as well, so be prepared to have folks request it after they taste it. Fideo is a great Tex-Mex and Mexican noodle comfort food. You don't really see many Mexican and Tex-Mex pasta dishes. Sopa de Fideo, or noodle soup, is the most common and well-known. And historically, pasta was brought to Mexico with the Spaniards, and the locals began making soup out of it. Now, like my Tex-Mex rice in Season 1, Episode 4, that the rice is toasted before cooking, the Mexican population toasted the noodles prior to adding the water. The pasta does not absorb as much water as the rice, so they were left with more of a soup. And so Sopa de Fideo was born. While it's most often made as a soup, I prefer a heartier dish that's thicker and more of a stew. My Fideo is loaded with flavor that'll warm your soul and fill your belly. It's also a great dish to bring to a potluck. Great combination of spice, peppers, pasta, tomatoes, and beef that blend to produce complex nuances of flavor. And what I like about Fideo, it's a one-pot meal. So here's how you make it. Prep time, about 10 minutes. Cooking time, an hour. It serves 6 to 8. And you can store this for a week in the fridge, or I'll store it 6 months in the freezer. The ingredients that you need is 1.5 pounds of ground beef, a 5 to 7 ounce package of Fideo, or that's a vermicelli noodle, 1/2 large sweet onion, 1 poblano pepper, 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro, a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, a can of diced green chilies, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of cumin, 1 tablespoon of tomato bouillon, 5 or 6 jalapeno slices, and then 3 to 4 cups of beef stock. Now, the first step in this is to prep the veggies. So let's begin by dicing the onion. So I'm going to dice this into 1/4-inch slices and set that to the side. Next, I'm going to take my poblano pepper, and I'm going to slice this down the middle and remove the stem, take all the seeds out. The seeds are where most of the heat is, so I remove them to make the dish milder. I'm going to slice that lengthways and then come back and dice that into about 1/4-inch dicing. Okay, and then let me grab my fresh cilantro here, cut off a little bit, and then let me chop this up. It's got a nice chop on it. Now gonna set the veggies beside. All the prep work's done. Let's get cooking. And what I'm gonna do is gonna add the olive oil to the skillet and heat that. It doesn't take too long for that oil to heat up. And then now let's take the Fideo pasta, add that to the skillet, and I'm gonna stir that up, make sure that all the noodles are covered with olive oil. And over medium heat, I'm just gonna toast this Fideo. Now I'm gonna stir often in the process. If you don't stir it off, the toasting of the Fideo is what gives your dish some color and the toastiness prior to adding the liquid. Now, we don't want to over toast these. Once we add the meat in and start browning the meat, those noodles will continue to toast. Let me make a kind of a hole in the center here, scoot those noodles to the side. And let's add the ground beef in. Mix it all up good, get this going. And let's add the minced garlic. Stir that in. I love when the garlic hits the oil in on, you smell that. All right. And let's add the cumin. Cumin in. Stir that in. One thing, whenever you add spice over heat, it really opens up the flavors of the spice. And oh man, the smell of that cumin and garlic are really smelling good. All right, we're going to let that continue to brown a little bit. Okay, it's mostly brown. It's not totally browned up yet. And I'm going to go ahead and add the onions and stir that in. And then the poblanos, stir that in. It's mixed well. And the cilantro, and stir that in. Now, I like stirring between each ingredient. I think it just blends it all much better. Okay, we'll let that continue to simmer and brown and get the fire roasted tomatoes and pour that in, juice and all on this one. I really love the flavor of fire roasted tomatoes, but lately I've had a hard time finding them. So go ahead and use unroasted diced tomatoes if you can't find the roasted variety. That's mixed well. Let's add the green chilies. These add a lot of flavor to the dish. And I've got those mixed in. All right, getting there here. Now let's get the jalapenos. Like I said, I'm only adding 5 or 6 to this dish. I'm not really going to try to make the dish overly spicy. I'm just adding a few to add a little flavoring to it. It's all mixed well. Ooh, that's smelling so good. So the next ingredient is the tomato bouillon. Now, the tomato bouillon adds some tomato flavoring, and in Tex-Mex cooking, tomato bouillon is a staple ingredient for a lot of dishes. But if you don't have tomato bouillon, you can always add a small can of tomato sauce or even leave it out. All right, that's all mixed well. It's cooking. The meat's browned. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the beef stock, and I'm going to totally cover the dish with the meat stock. And I'm going to turn up the heat and let this come to a boil. That's coming to a boil. Now let me go ahead and set the timer. I'm going to set this for 40 minutes. I'm going to stir occasionally. You may need to add a little bit more beef stock to the dish because you don't want it to dry out. Let's let that simmer. All right. My timer's going off. Oh, let me turn this up. Okay. It smells good in here, let me tell you. And let me turn off that. Take the skillet off that burner. And I'll let this sit for about 10 minutes before I serve it. So let me sneak a bite though. Oof. Todd, let me blow on it. Oh man, that is good. It's got a great beefy flavor. It's accented by all the great flavor of onion and poblano and tomatoes. And the noodles are soft and flavorful. And with that toastiness and that rich beef flavor, oh man, that is good. I do love this dish. I know so Caleb's going to be happy with his birthday dinner. So for serving recommendations, enjoy this as a main dish. And a great side for Fideo are refried beans. Another great side dish to complement the Fideo is my street corn casserole from season 2, episode 12. Now, if you have flour tortillas on hand, those are great to heat up to use for dipping or for filling. And then what I like to do is put it into a crock pot, and then it's easy to transport to a potluck dinner. And I tell you what, it will be a hit at your potluck. Now, for a few tips, using beef stock really adds to the beefy flavor. But if you don't have any around the house, you can always use water instead. And where can you find the Fideo? If you look in the Latin or Hispanic section of your grocery store, in a pinch, you can use vermicelli pasta sticks found with all the other pastas. Now, if you're going to use those, you need to break them up prior to toasting. But be careful as you break that, pieces can go flying, so it can get messy. If you don't have the tomato bouillon, you can either leave it out or you can use a small can of tomato sauce. And one thing, if I'm not in a rush, I'll often let the Fideo simmer for more than an hour. And this will just further blend the flavors together, and I just keep adding beef stock so it doesn't dry out. Now, here's a great tip when reheating, either in a microwave or in a saucepan. Add a little water or beef stock, as those noodles will continue to absorb the liquid when it's refrigerated. So that just adds a little liquid back in and keeps it from getting dry. Now, Caleb had a fantastic 8th birthday. Everyone else enjoyed it too. I'd asked my students, what present should I buy for an 8-year-old boy? And they suggested Legos. I tell you what, that was the right choice. Caleb was so excited about his present. And I think Kristen, a friend and fellow professor of mine, was just as excited, as she was down on the floor with Caleb playing with the Legos and building things. Tell you what, it was a great dinner and everyone enjoyed it. And watching Caleb enjoy himself was the topper. It's nothing better than a kid's birthday. So thanks to Caleb for his birthday request, and to Jacob and Heather for having such a great kid. Also, thanks to Kristen for being a kid at heart, and to Bill and Hope for joining in the Caleb, happy birthday, my biggest little fan. Now, last time on Kenny's Kantina, I skipped the Q&A session in order to get my street corn casserole out before Thanksgiving. But don't worry, it is back. Now, I do get a lot of questions, and I can't get to all of them for the sake of time. I do read them all, so please do keep them coming. My marinara episode was a great success, and I was joined by Chef Monty. And we had a great time, and y'all enjoyed the show. So let's get to some of your questions and comments. Now, Mike from Texas asked, what's the big thing here? I thought spaghetti sauce and the marinara sauce were the same things. I think they are, but what's the difference? Margaret from England, she also asked, is it not the same tomato sauce and marinara sauce? Well, Mike and Margaret, thanks for your question. The big difference in the terminology is that marinara sauce is basically a tomato sauce. But to Margaret's question, the Italians use the term tomato sauce to reflect a little more complex dish that has more than just fresh herbs and it's cooked longer. My marinara sauce is really more of what the Italians call a tomato sauce. Spaghetti sauce is a little more complex with the addition of meat or vegetables, and it's typically slow cooked for hours. For instance, my spaghetti or meat sauce, I included ground beef, Italian sausage, onions, and mushrooms, and I cook it for 3 to 5 hours. And later on this season, I'll be showing everyone my meat sauce. Marinara is cooked in a lot less time, so it's known as a simpler sauce. but you can also use it for a pizza sauce or as a dipping sauce. Thanks for watching, Mike and Margaret. Our next question and comment comes from Sally in Texas. She says, "It's me again. Hi, Kenny. I love the knowledge that you pass on. I'm not sure you'll take my question again on history, but I love your insight on these topics. So here goes. How was marinara sauce invented? Is it truly from Italy or from an American-Italian founder?" Sally, it's great to hear from you again. I apologize. In Cooking with Chef Monty, I was remiss in including the history of marinara sauce. Thanks for calling my attention to it. Now, marinara did indeed originate in Italy. The first reference to it is in an Italian cookbook in 1692. Noodles or pasta were brought to Italy in the 13th century by Marco Polo when he returned from China. Real kicker is, though, that tomatoes did not arrive in Italy until the mid-1600s when they came from the New World. Now, marinara was derived in the seaports of southern Italy, and the name marinara comes from the Italian word marinai, or sailor. Pastas and tomatoes were both easily preserved, so Italian sailors could throw in a few dried herbs and have a quick, tasty hot meal while at sea. Sally, I hope you find the history of marinara interesting. I know I did, so thanks for keeping me true to the history of my dishes. There were a few questions regarding different jar sauces. While I enjoy the process of taking my time cooking, there are times when you need a quick meal, and I'm not adverse to using a jar or package. I do doctor it up, though. So William from New York asked, does the jarred pasta sauce need to be cooked or just heated, and is it okay to eat cold marinara? I thought the jar sauce was already cooked. So, hi, William. Jarred pasta sauce is already cooked and loaded with preservatives, so you can just heat it up. You can also eat cold marinara sauce, no problems there. And when I have some in the fridge, sometimes I'll just take a spoonful just to get some of the flavor. So have at it, William, and thanks for your question. So thanks for all the great questions today. They're always great, and I always love hearing from you all, so keep those cards and letters coming, folks. If you do want to move to the top of the question list, leave your comment at kennyscantina.com. And while you're there, check out the episodes you've missed or use a site to plan your next meal. Hey, what I'm really looking forward to my next episode. My mom just turned 91, and she's always made cheese balls at Christmas. Actually, she first made it in 1958. Now, growing up, my brother and sister and I would give them to our teachers as Christmas presents. And since Christmas and the holiday season is upon us, I thought it'd be great to share my mom's cheese ball with all of you. The cheese ball is easy to make, and it's this great blend of different cheeses that has a wonderful flavor. So join Mom and me for the next edition of Kenny's Cantina, and hey, become a part of our family tradition. Kenny's Cantina wouldn't be possible without you all. Thanks for watching and cooking with me. Season 3 is going to be great, so buckle up for that. Also, a big shout out to Road Hogs Media Network and to IBC Productions for making my show available across the globe. If you'd like to sponsor a future show, send me an email at kennyscantina@gmail.com or contact the studio. See y'all on the road.